Global expertise from San Fran to China. We are core consultants, not your average miner. DSC and Daba now confined to the house. And so now we bring you core from the couch.
Hi, I'm sitting here with Jonathan Claesen from Beyond Trading Global Group in Shanghai. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
Good. Yourself?
Well, thank you. And I could see you in an office, but the rest of us are at home. This is your home office?
My home office. Yeah,
very nice. Okay. That's by design, or is this due to the ongoing virus?
No, it's I mean, I work with Sabila and I'm the only one here, so it didn't really make sense to have an office for one person. And it just made more sense to work from home. Anyway, most of the time I'm traveling, so you don't really need an office. So just me by myself here in Shanghai, it just didn't make sense to have an office. So for the last 6 months, I'll be working from home, which is a bit of a, getting used to. But I think after COVID-19, everyone's going to be used to working from home, so it's not going to be that strange anymore.
Yeah, we're into the WFH economy. I've just learned the acronym yesterday. Work from home.
Yeah, look, I think a lot's going to change from all of this. Something's good, something's bad. I think more and more companies are certainly moving towards this. And like for us, anyway, I have to sell the materials. So I'm visiting customers basically every second week. So half the time I'm not even here. So it just doesn't make sense to.
You were in Wuhan when it all started, right?
Yes, I was just on the outskirts of Wuhan. So my wife is from a city called Huangshi, which is just it's part of Huanggang. So Huanggang was basically the second most hit city in China. And yeah, we go back every year for the Chinese New Year, and we were there right when it happened. So unfortunately for us, they locked down the borders in Hubei, and we kind of got stuck there. So we spent 7 weeks at home. So it was quite an adventure. But I think I think everyone's kind of going through that. I think China now, obviously, we now. I mean, even in Hubei. I think today the 8th. What's today, the 8th, right? No, today's the 8th. So from today, Wuhan is basically the whole lockdown on Wuhan itself has stopped. So people who have been stuck there for literally since end of January are able to travel home, and so certainly here things are slowly coming back to normal.
And the chrome market, what's happening there?
Well, I mean, it's very dependent on what's going to happen in South Africa now. Obviously, the lockdown is going to be a big factor. I think historically, China has become more and more dependent on South Africa, both on chrome and manganese. The good news is, I think they have enough stock to last them a couple of months. The bad news is depending on how long the lockdown is going to stay in South Africa, the longer it's going to impact the stocks and the reserves here. Because I've spoken to somebody this morning in South Africa who was saying to me that apparently last night they arrested a whole lot of illegal trucks that shouldn't be transporting ore. So at this stage, it seems that unless you've got material in the port or you've got material on the water, you're not going to be able to move anything inland.
So demand locally has picked up then. So
yeah, look, I think the spot market has come up. Spot market has come up in China a little bit. Just I think in reaction to them realizing that, look, if they're consuming 1.2, 1.3 million tons of chrome every month, and okay, fine, there's 3 million tons in Tianjin, and there's probably 4 million tons in all of China. But still, that's 2.5, 3 months worth of stock. So if it gets extended after 21 days, which that's certainly the rumor that's going around, then it's going to get to a stage where supply will be affected. But look, I think it's not that simple. I mean, even in China itself, the COVID-19 has obviously had a huge impact globally. Stainless steel is also being affected. So the reality is, if demand for stainless steel globally slows down, then the demand for ferrochrome will be less, and ultimately the demand for chrome will be less. So yeah, look, I think this is going to have a massive impact on absolutely everything.
Well, there's sort of two discussion points going on with respect to the manganese and the chrome market, and this is sort of what I'm understanding is that on the one hand, you've got global demand rather for stainless steel products, which is going to dip. And that's obviously because people are just strapped for cash. A lot of people are staying home. A lot of businesses are going under. And then you've got China, which to stimulate their own local economy will pick up on the infrastructure demand. So from there, they might be consuming more of their stainless steel. What do you see?
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, look. I think globally, I mean, even in terms of any businesses in China, I mean, you walk the streets of Shanghai now, and a lot of businesses have been shut down, and not shut down temporarily. You can see that restaurants and shops, are empty. They've been literally, they haven't survived the exorbitant rents that they have here. You can't survive not doing business for 5 or 6 or weeks or so. So definitely there's going to be a long-term impact. I think China itself, the government is trying to get the economy going. And certainly I think China is probably, being the first major economy to have been hit by the virus. They're also now in line to be the first one to recover.
Right.
So certainly that's put them in a position, especially when you, for example, you're the manufacturing hub of the world, right? So whether you're looking for protective, I was reading this morning that China's producing 0.1 billion masks per day. So certainly, I mean, they're exporting it, and I mean that's come with a lot of problems too, because as you mass manufacturing, the quality certainly is not upheld, and it's more about volumes than getting the products done properly. But definitely, I think China is going to try and stimulate its own economy. But then again, you've got to understand that 2020 was going to be a tricky year for China, even before all of this COVID-19 stories. I mean, whether it was the ongoing trade war with the US, or whether it was just a slowing down in the general economy, this has just been another blow to what was already going to be a difficult year. So I think the government is trying. I think they're going to put measures to try and stimulate the economy. The good thing about China today is, you've got close to a billion people that are middle class, and certainly having a billion people investing in your own economy is an economy on its own. But it's going to take a long time. It's certainly not going to be fixed overnight or in a short period of time. I think this is definitely going to have a long-term impact, not just in China but globally. I think it's going to be a very tough year.
You've got local demand picking up, or that
sure. Yeah, I mean, manganese.
You're not able to buy, and you're not able to buy at the moment.
No, look, I mean, unless you've got cargo on the water or cargo in ports in South Africa, you're not going to be able to get it out. So the reality is, you're right. Spot market manganese shot up. I think it slowed down a bit this week. A lot of it was I wouldn't call it panic buying, but certainly people who wanted to get in, thinking that perhaps this is at the lowest point and trying to get in there. And I think both chrome and manganese, definitely market has picked up in the last weeks or so. But this week it seems to be a bit quieter again. I think people just want to see what's going to happen now in South Africa, because what is it? It's day 13 or day 14 of a 21-day lockdown. So technically, everyone's very curious to see what's going to happen, whether it's going to get extended or not. And I think that's going to have a big impact on the market.
Well, let's just say it gets extended, because they're now talking July. Where do you then see the chrome market, manganese market? We've obviously had points where there have been times when the chrome market's been particularly volatile. We've seen manganese at 7 recently. We've seen it down again to 3 point something. So where are you seeing it?
The harsh reality, especially on chrome, and to some extent you can say it in manganese, although there are some very big differences between the supply. But if you take chrome an example, it's way oversupplied. There's no doubt that on a normal month where prices are at a level where suppliers are making profits. So let's say, I don't have the exact number, but let's say the market is at 150 for UG2 and everybody's making money at those levels. South Africa can ship 1.3 million tons in a month, and that's probably higher than China's consumption. So end of the day, as long as you've got a market where the supply is more than the demand, in a physical market, it's a no-brainer that the prices aren't going to go up, because when the buyer is trying to get material, and if the market is today at 120, if for example Teresa doesn't want to sell at that price, and perhaps Glencore will, and then if Glencore doesn't, perhaps Assmang will, and again that's just the harsh reality of a market being oversupplied. where we are now is, you're hearing of some Angkor that are implementing care and maintenance, and so is Glencore for a period of time, and so has Assor. So the reality is we're going to have to see how much material is going to still be able to come out of South Africa. I think that's going to be the key factor, because end of the day, it's like the African bush. If you've got too many lions and you don't have enough impalas, it's just a matter of time where that equilibrium comes. And you've seen that over the years. When was it? 2015, when prices shot down to below 100. What happened is basically everybody left the market. There was only a few more people left, and those people were able to push prices up very quickly, just because there were more buyers than there was suppliers. Unfortunately, now it's the opposite. So until that balance comes back, we're not going to see a big jump in price. It's just a harsh reality.
Okay, thank you. And any sort of final words before we wrap up?
Just hope that everybody stays safe, and it's testing times, and we've got to feel a lot of compassion, especially for people in South Africa that are not in the most comfortable of circumstances, and it's going to be tough. It's tough for a lot of people.
Yeah. All right, John, thanks so much, and thank you for your insights, and yeah, it's been great talking to you. Thanks.
No problem. Good one. Take care.
Go well.